In this podcast episode, Dr. Gad Saad and Dr. Peterson engage in a wide-ranging discussion on various topics. They explore the concept of idea pathogens, the spread of ideas through memetic theory, left-wing authoritarianism, and the reasons behind their willingness to speak their minds despite the risks involved. They also delve into the transformation of religious beliefs and the importance of adhering to the truth. Dr. Saad introduces the concept of idea pathogens, which are ideological parasites that infect individuals and cause them to adopt maladaptive positions. He identifies postmodernism and social constructivism as examples of idea pathogens and traces their origins to the university ecosystem. He proposes a mind vaccine against these parasitic ideas to counter their negative effects. The conversation then shifts to the competition between sets of ideas and the role of memetic theory in understanding the spread of ideas. They discuss the importance of memorable and charismatic ideas that can be easily communicated. Dr. Peterson distinguishes between practical ideas and genuine cognitive parasites, emphasizing the need to differentiate between the two. They also explore the concept of left-wing authoritarianism and its predictors. Dr. Peterson shares his research findings, which indicate that verbal intelligence, being female, having a feminine temperament, and taking politically correct higher education courses are predictors of left-wing authoritarianism. Dr. Saad adds that he is currently studying morphological predictors of ideological positions. The discussion then delves into the reasons behind their willingness to speak their minds despite the backlash they face. Dr. Peterson explains that his study of totalitarianism and the psychology of perpetrators has made him aware of the dangers of not speaking out. He emphasizes the importance of not losing control of one's speech and the need to defend the truth. Dr. Saad shares a similar sentiment, stating that he feels a moral obligation to speak the truth and cannot modulate his speech. They also touch on the transformation of the highest animating principle in religious beliefs. Dr. Peterson discusses the shift from perceiving the highest authority as a manifestation of nature's grandiosity to understanding it as a voice within, associated with conscience. He relates this to the power of the word and the importance of adhering to the truth. Dr. Saad acknowledges the functional value of religion and moral stories without necessarily believing in their supernatural elements. He sees the value in religious teachings and archetypes but stops short of accepting their veracity. The conversation then transitions to the intersection of evolutionary biology, religion, and happiness. Dr. Saad suggests that human beings are beholden to their conscience, which operates as an autonomous entity. He argues that abiding by one's conscience is conducting oneself in accordance with something transcendent. He also suggests that pursuing truth as a scientist is akin to attending to the voice of conscience. They discuss the evolutionary origins of morality and conscience, with Dr. Saad explaining that morality is a product of social species. He argues that morality can be explained within an evolutionary framework without the need for a supernatural or religious explanation. However, he acknowledges that religion offers a solution to the fundamental problem of human mortality, which may explain its appeal. Dr. Saad also addresses the question of whether religion is flawed or if it is co-opted by predatory individuals. He argues that certain religious narratives promote an us versus them mentality, which can lead to conflict. He suggests that the conflict in Lebanon, where he grew up, was not a result of human co-opting of religious narratives, but rather a manifestation of the inherent divisive nature of certain religious beliefs. They then discuss the concept of axiomatic truths and the convergence of religious claims. Dr. Saad argues that while there are many contradictory religious claims, there are also central axiomatic truths that converge across different religions. He suggests that the universal validity of the hero myth and the redemptive quality of courageous advancement in the face of the unknown are examples of such truths. The conversation then turns to the relationship between play and happiness. Dr. Saad argues that play is a form of higher-order play and that even serious pursuits, such as science, can be seen as a form of play. He also discusses the importance of choosing the right spouse and profession for long-term happiness. Dr. Saad explains that while there is a moderate correlation between religiosity and happiness, it is possible to find happiness without being religious. He suggests that there are universal truths and principles that can lead to happiness, regardless of religious beliefs. Dr. Saad continues by introducing the concept of the inverted U, which suggests that too little or too much of something is not good, and the optimal level lies somewhere in the middle. He relates this concept to Aristotle's idea of the golden mean. Dr. Saad provides examples from different domains, such as alcohol consumption, fish consumption, and exercise intensity, to illustrate how this pattern can be observed. They then delve into the topic of regret and categorize it into regret due to actions and regret due to inactions. Dr. Saad mentions the work of Thomas Gilovich, who argues that people's most looming regrets are often those of inaction. Dr. Peterson adds that holding one's tongue when they have something to say can also be seen as a form of inaction that leads to regret. The conversation shifts to the topic of authenticity and its relationship to happiness. Dr. Saad shares that he strives to live a life of obsessive authenticity, where he doesn't hold his tongue when it comes to defending the truth. He believes that being authentic and true to oneself leads to happiness and a sense of fulfillment. However, he acknowledges the challenge of balancing authenticity with the potential for ego-driven behavior. Dr. Peterson raises the question of how social connections and relationships can help regulate one's behavior. Dr. Saad agrees that having a supportive spouse, like his wife, who can recognize his behavioral traps and offer guidance, is crucial. He emphasizes the importance of choosing the right spouse who can make one a better person. They conclude the conversation by discussing Dr. Saad's upcoming book, The Sad Truth About Happiness. Dr. Saad explains that while 50% of happiness is determined by genetics, the other 50% is influenced by the choices one makes and the mindsets one adopts. He hopes that his book will offer insights and strategies for finding happiness. Overall, the podcast explores the relationship between evolutionary biology, religion, and happiness. It highlights the importance of finding the right balance in various aspects of life and the role of authenticity and social connections in achieving happiness. The conversation provides valuable insights and perspectives on these topics.